Welcome to the podcast. It is going to be, it's going to be a great day. I was going to say, you want to talk about the greatest racket in the world? It's bottled water or packaged water or something that's actually free. Yeah. And the fact that someone's like, you know what? Here's the fastest way to grow a business. Take something that's free that everybody has naturally for free and charge for it.
Yeah. Oh,
convenience.
No. We're all getting scammed, and I'm okay with it.
When it tastes like liquid death, it's like, yo, I am a lemming. I'll never wear a mask, but I'll for sure as hell drink liquid death.
So there you go. So
good.
Today,
yeah.
What I wanted to, we had a couple different topics playing around with, noodling around.
You know what you want to talk about today?
Oh, I've got a handful of things I want to hit on.
You're feeling very fiery and spicy today.
Yeah, dude. I got a solid workout in this morning.
Nice.
Slept like crap.
Same. What was your score?
Well, I use Whoop because, I'm
you're
better.
Less than.
No, because I want to have more metrics to track instead
Whoop
of just
does not track sleep well at all. It is a well-known fact that Whoop tracks your working out and your high activities, but it is not great for sleep. Aura is great for sleep, but Aura is garbage for working out.
No, Whoop's it perfectly fine for sleep. It tracks my...
As somebody who wears both Whoop and Aura, I am more educated on this.
I used to wear both too.
Okay.
But
what did Whoop say that it thinks you slept?
It says that I got 3 hours of sleep last night. And so I had 3 hours of sleep and my recovery was like a 23%. But it wasn't as bad as this weekend. Because this weekend, as you know, I did my first youth lock-in. Now, I didn't personally go to the
It wasn't even youth, though. Let's be honest. It was kids.
It was children.
Which is 10 times harder.
Which sounds weird, but basically our church had a...
so Jake was locked into a building with a bunch of children. But it's not weird. It's Jesus.
So if you aren't from the... I don't know if people do this outside the church world. Is a lock-in a thing that...
I have no idea. I don't know anything outside of the church world. I live in a bubble and I'm grateful for it.
So in the church world, they do this ridiculous thing where they take a bunch of kids and they'll lock them into the church, which sounds bad, but they play all of these games and basically let the kids stay up all night long.
They feed them a bunch of junk. They feed them a bunch of there's music, there's hypes, there's all these huge what are those they're not balloons, but the thing in the front lobby where they had the running activities.
Oh, like bounce houses.
Bounce houses. There's bounce houses. There's games. There's Gaga Ball. There's dance parties.
It's honestly a blast. And I did them when I was in youth. And I remember going to a lock-in and, you'd have games and activities from 7 to, maybe 1 in the morning. And then everybody, it's like, all right, we're winding down. We're going to bed. Here, they let the kids stay up. It was like there was no bedtime. You could stay up as late as you wanted. And they had activities pretty much for every single hour. So my recovery on that day, and I went, it was my son, his first youth event. And I was like, okay, you can go to this, but you're not going if dad's not there. So I volunteered to go and they had activities all
You're an overprotective parent. That's really what it comes down to.
No, I have a almost 7-year-old and I have some trust issues.
You do, for sure. When I was 7 years old, me and my sister were literally staying by ourselves until my parents got home from work for 2 or 3 hours.
When were you born?
Doing laundry.
Born in the 80s?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a different era, man.
Yeah, it was worse in the 80s. It was 10 times worse in the 80s than the 90s.
Cell phones.
Yeah, we had zero way of contacting people.
Hey, just go hang with friends and come back.
Bro, I will never forget the freaking butt whooping I got after lighting a candle in the house because we cleaned the house. I was like, yo, I want to light a candle. Maybe it wasn't a candle. Maybe I was just playing with matches. It's probably matches because lighting a candle would mean I was doing something right. And there's no way at that age I was doing right things. So I just thought striking a match was cool. But I was 7 years old and by myself in a house. And I got tore up because can't be striking matches in the house because they could burn down the house. So I'll never forget that. But anyways,
at least you didn't burn your sister's eyebrows off.
Ooh.
So I did that on accident. My brother and I dug a pit in the backyard and put a bunch of wood in it and filled it with lighter fluid, and then told my, gosh, Hannah, if you're watching this, I do apologize. Your eyebrows are back, and you're beautiful as ever. But we told her, hey, you should take this match and you should throw it in there. It'd be funny. She throws it in there and whoosh, singes all of her eyebrows off.
Oh my gosh, she didn't get no burns at all, though.
No, she didn't get any burns.
She didn't sustain any second or third degree burns.
No, it was just a quick poof. But yeah, all of her front of her hair all
poof. Just a quick woof. Just everything
burned off.
Are we going to talk about something today?
Yes, we should. We do have a topic.
Great
topic that is very near and dear to my heart.
Okay.
Well, I would say is very near and dear to our business, and that is the education versus execution. Specifically, what I want to talk about, and the reason I brought this up is because we work with a lot of salespeople. If you guys are watching this and you didn't know this, we have an amazing community called the Sales League. We do a bunch of training in it. We have people that we do one-on-ones with. It's a blast. But one of the things that we've noticed is a lot of salespeople and even business owners spend so much time chasing education, information, but they fail to actually focus on execution. They are looking for the next thing, the next piece of information that's going to change the game for them. So my question for you is, why do you think that is? Why do people not just focus on, and we say this all the time, you don't need more education or information. You need to just execute. You need more practice. You need to implement what you already know. And sometimes you just got to get those reps in.
Yeah. Can I tell a story to answer this question?
Oh yeah. Let me get in cozy.
A long time ago when I first started. So I have been doing jiu-jitsu now for a very long time. I mean, it might be a matter of 8 weeks. I mean, just a really long time. It feels very long. Actually, today, speaking of jiu-jitsu, I am so fatigued and so sore from yesterday's jiu-jitsu session and then trying to lift heavy after that. And I hurt. I'm just hurting. I'm sitting here right now just in pain. I just want to clarify that. So in my 8 long weeks of jiu-jitsu, now mind you, my son's been going, he's probably getting close to pushing a year. So I've been able to watch him and it's been
a year?
Yeah. Well, April will be a year actually.
Wow.
Yeah. April will be a year, I think. And then he has his next competition coming up this weekend. So I've spent a ton of time learning the sport, the martial arts, the art form, whatever the proper way to title it is. I've been watching it for him and I have been consuming a ton of information, a ton of education. We go to personally what I think is one of the greatest, God, I don't even know what you call them. I call them a gym because it's just how I'm wired. One of the greatest jiu-jitsu training facilities, I think, in the state of Tennessee. Professor Justin and Professor Chris over at Gracie Barra in Franklin. And by the way, was two of the most amazing communicators and educators. The way that they can train these little tiny, just pistol starter munchkins that are just running around and can barely just even, stand without laughing and falling down, to all the way to like literally training other black belts. I mean, they're just brilliant.
Oh, and the lessons that they learn too. Like both my boy Sutherland just got his first stripe Tuesday. Tuesday. And I remember sitting in on one of the sessions and he's talking to all of these kids and he's talking to them about like basically getting back up. Like, hey, you're gonna lose. You're gonna fall on the ground. You're gonna get hurt. And what you got to remember is you got to just get back up, and like giving them this whole pep talk. And these are like 7-year-olds. Yeah. This
could not segue or solidify my point. For almost a year now, I have been consuming information about jiu-jitsu on behalf of my son, mainly so that he can practice crap on me and beat me up and go through it. And I go to almost every one of his sessions, training sessions, so that I can watch him. I be there, support him. I want him to feel like we are supporting him in whatever he chooses to do. So I'm sitting there and I just watch and I consume it. And then we also are blessed that our, where we, train also has an online class. Again, more information. So again, this is about education versus execution. So my story is, you asked me, why is it that people are struggling with where they'll only consume education and they have a hard time with execution? So after almost a year, I'm like, you know what? I want to do this. I want to be challenged more. I need more cardio. I need to intensify. I need to have my butt whooped, basically. And so I knew that going in, that this was going to be very hard and very challenging. But I also probably went in a little skewed, because I went in saying, oh, you know what? I've been watching for almost a year. I've really learned a lot. I will probably be a little bit more advanced than most beginners. Never thought I'd be somebody of value. Never thought like I was coming in to crush it. But I thought, oh, I have a lot of information about this art, this sport, this martial arts. I know a lot now because I've been studying it. But oh, how funny that means absolutely nothing. It literally means nothing. All the education in the world, if you've never had implementation or execution, is just wasted information. It really is. It's like the equivalent of having a computer cable and plugging a data cable into the power outlet. You ain't going anywhere. You ain't turning that bad boy on, right? There was no power. There's no execution. So when I got in 4 sessions in, 5 sessions in, by my 8th session, there's this wonderful gentleman there who is, I think, about to be a black belt. And because I am a bigger, more muscular guy, I'm just a bigger guy, he's pretty much the only person I could really spar with there that I'm not going to kill. And this dude probably destroyed me 12 straight times in a row. I'm not kidding. When I mean destroyed, I mean, it felt like as if I was my older brother who was in college and I was 7, was just every time I tried to like take him down, he just laughed at me and swatted me away like a fly. And it was so humbling. And I left so defeated. I left very defeated that day, to the point to where like I was brought to an emotional, like I just wanted to bawl and cry. And I am, you know me pretty well. Would you say I'm a crier? No. It's not really my thing. I'm not against it. I love people who cry, but it's just not super my thing constantly. And this jacked me up so hard. I was so distraught by this, because once I started processing through this, I'm like, I know better. That should have worked. I knew that technique and it didn't work. Every time I tried something, this, man who has years on me, experience on me, who has more mat time than I have, was able to take whatever I threw at him and literally just leverage it, took my momentum and just put me somewhere else, put me in a chokehold, submitted me, pinned me down, wore me out, made it to where I literally felt like, as a man of my stature, I could not do anything. I felt so helpless. I called my friend and I was heated. I was so mad. I was so angry because I just felt so small. And I think a lot of times sales pros, they gather all this information and it doesn't work the first 1, 2, 3, let's even say a dozen times. And the information that they acquired did not work for them.
Yeah. And you think that the guy that beat you, do you think and maybe he has, but do you think he was able to do that because he watched all the training videos that you guys have in your
Well, here's my point. So I call my friend and I say, dude, this is what happened. I'm pissed. I'm angry. I felt embarrassed. I felt all these things that just as a natural human being I was going through. I mean, obviously I'm being very vulnerable right now and kind of just expressing. And what he said to me was this. He goes, what do you think the job is of that higher ranked belt? You think it's to make you feel that way? Or is it for you to learn that all the information in the world don't mean a hill of beans until you work this? He's like, do you know how to do this move? I was like, no, I know of the move. He goes, but do you know every step to make that move perfect, to make it right? And I go, no, I don't. And he goes, so can you just learn it real quick and do it? I said, well, no, I need to work it. And he goes, right. You have to workshop that. And you don't get to workshop it once. You don't get to workshop it a dozen times. He goes, these people are gaining these belts over years, if not decades of experience. These people are they are masters of their craft, right? And it was almost like, Josh, what the heck is the matter with you that you thought in any world at any time that you could go in there and just muscle your way through this? Even subconsciously, I'm not that stupid to think like, oh, I'm going to go against a brown belt or a black belt and just take them down. I'm not that dumb. But like, there was a part of me that was just like, oh, why isn't my strength working? Because I just don't have enough repetition. I don't have enough mat time. And when I realized that their job was to show me, the quicker that I realized that all the aggression, all the muscle, all of the knowledge that I had was not enough to trump experience. Not enough to trump the earned time of reps. And the quicker that I learned that lesson from that higher belt submitted me, making me feel like less than I felt like a little tiny kid that day. And the quicker I learned that, the quicker I can actually come back the next time. And now I can be submitted and I can learn. I can submit myself to the process, learn how it actually works, try it, fail, make an adjustment, try it again, fail. But I have to go back week after week after week, executing. Now look at this in sales. There's a long roundabout way to answer this question. In sales, you can acquire all the information in the world. There's a billion programs we could tell you to go, buy right now, and you'll learn something. 1 million books. You know, how many books are on Amazon alone, and how many of those are in business or self-help or development? More than we can even, have time to read. Why do we keep writing more information? The better question is, why do we keep searching for some random magic pill as if it is going to trump execution, experience of workshopping something, perfecting it? I love even the definition of perfection. People are like, oh, I'm not going to release that. I'm a perfectionist. Well, I can't put that out yet because I'm a perfectionist. I heard this all the time in the music industry. And I'm like, a perfectionist, the actual definition of it actually means to put it out and to continually perfect it. Not wait till it's perfect, but to put it out and then perfect it over time. That's why they tell people who are like, oh, I'm a singer-songwriter. All right, where's the last time you played down at the local spot or did that open mic or did that? Why? Oh no, I'm ready to do a tour. You're not ready to do a tour yet. Not even close. You need reps. You need to go play in front of the 5 people who don't give a damn to hear you sing and know what that feels like so that over time you can know what it feels like to sit in front of 5,000 or 50,000 and so on.
Well, and I think that also plays into education. So we had someone in our community yesterday that reached out to us and said, I'm looking for my next book to read. What's your suggestion in terms of books? And my response to him wasn't, oh, you should check out this book. My response was, what do you feel that you need to improve on so you can close more deals? And I think that's how education and execution work well together, because you don't actually know what information you need until you've put the reps in and you've seen yourself hit the same wall or struggle with the same problem. And then okay, I'm missing something. Now I can supplement that with a piece of information, with a book or a course or a training. But if you actually haven't put the reps in, you haven't practiced, then you don't have any data and you're just mindlessly consuming information. The follow-up question that I had for you is, when it comes to education and execution, obviously you do need, we're not saying don't stop learning things, but where is that balance? At what point? So let's say someone's just getting into sales. They're in their first 3 months, right? At what point do they need to turn the course off, put the book down, and start executing? What's the balance, would you say, or is there a balance?
Yeah, remember how we feel about balance. We either turn it up or we turn it down.
You dial it down, yeah.
Dial it down. When I was in college, I played at a very small, tiny school, played football, and it was just a basic college, right? You go to college, get some degree, whatever. I didn't do very well there. I never did super well in the classroom setting because it was just consuming information, but I didn't understand how it was applied, which is why we'd even do the sales scrimmages the way that we do, because I don't want to just teach salespeople more information. I want to teach them one nugget of truth, one moment, and then I want to see them go and apply it and workshop that. Well, when I transitioned from one college to the other one, the second college, the structure was very simple. You went to class for 4 hours, and then you immediately left that class and went to another class for 4 hours, except that class, all you did was physically do what you just learned about. And man, my grades went through the roof because I got to experience, hey, consume the knowledge. I think I understand this. Now let me go see what I actually understand. And then I had someone along the way helping me. That's what I want to see sales managers do more. Hey, don't just, pound them and hit them with numbers. Understand where are they at in their journey, in their process. When we're training these sales managers or these business owners that are running their sales teams, we're saying to them, where's your team at? They're like, well, they're just not closing enough deals. Okay, what does that mean? How many dials are they making? How many touch points do they have per lead? How are they engaging with them? When's the last time you did a call review? What's the point of a call review? To see where your salesperson is actually at. How do they sound? Are they off? Are they struggling with something outside of work that's affecting the way that they sound on the phone? Is their tonality off? Are they talking too much? The brevity's jacked up. Do they lack cadence and they can't take the prospect on a journey with the way they speed up or slow down, right? All these things where it's like, how do you know where they're at? You have to be able to put your finger on the pulse and see, it's like, where are you at right now?
Yeah. Because and even when we're trained, to add on to that, even when we're training sales, we were literally, before that, we were talking with a sales manager and he was giving all of his sales new people that he's brought on a bunch of information. But then we had to ask, okay, so how are you making sure that they know this? And had to tell him, great, you had them watch these videos, but there has to be checks and balances. Okay, you've watched the video. The next step in the process is send me a video of you completing that task, of you putting things correctly in the pipeline, right? Or listen to, like, whenever we bring salespeople on, we'll say, hey, listen to these calls, and then we want you to review the call and tell us what went well, what didn't go so well, what would you do differently?
Because we need to know when you hear this call, it's not, hey, did you nail it perfectly? Do you know everything there is to know about sales? It's what are you picking up on? Because I need to know what your baseline is. It doesn't matter. A lot of sales pros are, or maybe new hires are afraid to kind of tell you where their baseline is because I don't want you to think less of me or whatever. It's like, man, I'd rather know exactly what I'm dealing with. So I know, do I need to focus on this or do I need to focus on that? Because I wouldn't have hired you if I didn't believe that you could be an asset for this team. So now I just need to know what your baseline is. So when we're looking at education and people saying, oh, what book should I read or what new thing should I do? I like to ask, what was the last book you read? And how have you applied that? Don't just tell me, show me. Oh, I just read, Never Split the Difference. Great. What part about Never Split the Difference are you applying? How is it helping you close more deals or not close more deals? How is it that it's helping your communication, your ability to communicate not only with prospects, maybe team members at your own office? Show me that. How are you leveraging that? Give me actual examples. And then by the examples that they give me, it'll actually tell me, have you tried implementing this? Why would you need another book right now when you haven't even implemented the last bit of information that you had?
Oh yeah. I love the one of our salespeople that we were training. We asked him that question. What he'd been in sales maybe 3 months, and we're like, yeah. So what's your current info diet? What are you reading right now? And he said, oh yeah, I'm going through 48 Laws of Power. And we're like, bro, that is the last thing.
Listen,
you need to be reading right now.
If you just got into any form of sales, any form of anything, and you are 3 months in, stay away from Robert Greene. By far, arguably one of the greatest authors. I mean, all of his books are just brilliant. I mean, based off of your moral ethics and code.
Compass,
compass. You gotta kind of temper that. But I mean, brilliant. But if you just got into sales, you don't need to be reading 48 Laws of Power. That is just so beyond where you're at right now. Like, let's bring it back down.
Yeah, I just got my first SDR position, and I'm going through the Art of Seduction or whatever that.
33. Yeah. I mean,
Whatever that book.
It's just brilliant.
Yeah.
It's just so funny because when you think about it, consume information from where you're at. Mm-hmm. You know what I love telling people to read? What's our favorite book that we love recommending?
177 Mental Toughness Secrets of the World Class.
Of the World Class. Why?
Long title.
Because they're small nuggets that you can consume every day. We're going to start training on that book again here inside of our community. Why? Because I just want to put in front of you small nuggets, little bits of information that you can consume, think on, act on, implement, and then hopefully your mastery is you teaching it back to somebody else. Right? That's how we know you're actually mastering this art and this skill and this craft is not only have you consumed it, you've implemented it, you've proven it to be true, you've shown yourself worthy of that, but now you are now teaching it back to somebody else. Yeah. And I think when it comes to education, please always be learning, always be investing in yourself. But investing in yourself isn't about the quantity, right? It's the quality. It's not about, oh, I've read 100 books. Great, but you ain't implemented any of those books. So those books have no power. It's lifeless. It's powerless. But if you said, hey, I consume 5 books and I have consumed them all year long and I have gone through them, I've highlighted, I've written down, I've implemented, I've checks and balances. So when I implemented this strategy that I learned from this sales book and I was able to say, hey, that worked or that didn't work and here's why. And then I reviewed my game tape and then I tried it again and I actually wore with it, right? It's very similar even to what, the Bible talks about. Working out your salvation. Really, like I love that somebody once told me that even the Hebrew model was to literally go study the scripture, memorize it, then almost go and argue it, and then go back and study it, memorize it, meditate on it, and consume it, and really work it and make sure, do you know what you believe? Do you know why you believe what you believe? Have you workshopped that out to where you can say, no, I know that when I talk to a prospect and I speak this way, that it will yield X result or it will serve them in this way.
100%. And even if you look back in Bible times, they didn't have a ton of books. Everything was through telling stories and word of mouth. And so when they knew something, they they knew it. Well, any final thoughts for people on execution versus education?
Test the knowledge that you have. Whatever it is that's the last thing that you consumed, maybe go back to it, test it, workshop it, see how it's actually serving you or not serving you. If you've learned something that was not beneficial for you, make sure that you literally eradicate that from you, right? If you don't want a behavior or a thought process or a pattern that is detrimental to you. But if you've got something and it's something on mindset or something on a tactic or a skill set on anything. Hell, if you're learning about how to manage your money, go check your checkbook. Go check your bank account. Are you tracking it? Look at your QuickBooks, whatever that is for you. Are you actually tracking things? Are you staying in alignment with your budget? Are you being consistent, right? Success is the ability to do consistent actions day in and day out, right? Just anything over 0 compounds. Right. So just never forget that when you are taking in, the educational side, well, workshop that through execution. And 100%. I think you'll have a recipe for success.
Amazing. Well, if you enjoyed this episode and you watched it all the way through, we can't thank you enough. And if you are someone who feels like they need more education or more execution, we have an amazing community. There's a link in the description. You can check out the Sales League, and we'll see you next time.
Stay sharp.
Stay sharp.